Hello, I am Sharon Roberson Pinder, President and CEO of the Capital Region Minority Supply Development Council and the operator of the U.S. Department of Commerce Minority Business Development Agency's first business center in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We are one of 23 regional councils of the National Minority Supply Development Council, which represents over 13,000 certified MBEs and around 1,500 national corporate members. Our mission is to certify, connect, develop, and advocate for minority owned businesses across the capital region and across this country. This year, we are especially excited to advance our mission and celebrate, wait for it, 50 years of connecting minority owned firms with local, state, federal, and private sector contracting opportunities. Today, we are speaking with Darla Harris, Vice President and Senior Business Consultant with JPMorgan Chase, one of our national corporate members. Really excited about that today. JPMorgan has made a huge commitment to support business growth and entrepreneurship in the Black and minority communities. So stay tuned for a great conversation. Our goal, as always, is to partake and to share great information today. Now, before we bring on Darla, let's recognize some of our title sponsors. We are very grateful to Exelon, BGE, an Exelon company, Pepco, an Exelon company, Capital One, AMCUS, one of our premier minority businesses, our host and sponsor, the MBDA Center, and SB & Company, another one of our premier minority businesses. Before I bring Darla on, let me just tell you a little bit about her. Exceptional woman. Darla Harris is Vice President, Senior Business Consultant for Chase Business Banking in Washington, D.C., and Northern Virginia. She has more than 40 years of experience in financial services and has a passion for helping Black and Latinx entrepreneurs accentuate their businesses. In her role, Darla conducts one-on-one coaching and provides minority business owners with education and advocacy or advisory services, which include operations management, business development, and access to capital support to support sustainability business growth. Ms. Harris is active in her local community, and which shows up in different ways as she serves as a Chase ambassador and an active community partner for more than 3 years. She works to help businesses achieve their goals and making business banking simple as possible. And she extends access, and that's very important, to JP Morgan's broader team of experts in areas such as cash management, credit solutions, and other business services. Ladies and gentlemen, let us meet this Darla Harris. Hi, Darla.
Hello, how are you today?
Okay. And so welcome. And, the topic of financial management is always such an important topic in the minority business community for minority business owners. And from your experience, I saw, we talked about 40 years of experience, 3 in this current role, I understand it. But can you tell us a little bit? I want to talk a little bit about you, but can you tell me why it's important to you and important to JPMorgan Chase?
Thank you so much. And that is a great question. I do have over 40 years of banking
And by the
experience.
way, you don't look like, I just want to say, let's set the
Oh,
record straight. You don't look like you have over 40 years of experience, but go ahead.
well, thank you. Thank you. I do. And so I have held various roles in the financial institutions. I've had my brokerage license from running branches and also from being in the business space. And what I've found, I've had a lot of my friends and family that would come to me and say, I need you to help me with a business plan. I need you to help me understand my financial documents.
Mm,
Talk to me about this balance sheet. What is cash flow? What is global debt service coverage? And so in the previous roles that I've had, I was a business manager. So I was able to work with businesses, manage all of their products, checking, savings. And so I really come with what I call human capital, able to really look at a financial statement and understand what their needs are. But before this program that JPMorgan Chase started, the Minority Entrepreneur Program, I would have business owners that I just couldn't help. I couldn't help them get capital, or they were running, maybe business management was different. They didn't have a team of advisors. And so what I would do is I had resources outside of the institution that I was working for, and I'd say, here's a place where you can go to get help, some community development, financial institution. But I didn't have that follow-up. Were they able to get help? Were they able to get what they needed? Did they get the coaching and education? And this program that we've started now is exactly what that's doing. So I've mentored a lot of business owners on my own before we started this program. So this is really important to me that we now can give them that one-on-one coaching. And it is a 6-month program. And hopefully when I meet with the business owner, I am meeting them at the place that they are now. And when we leave out of the 6-month program, they're in a much better position to get access to capital, the 5 pillars that we currently work on.
Okay. So let me dial back a bit. So it sounds like you got into this passion around helping the minority businesses because people came to you, friends of friends, and said that if you want to, whether it's business startup, business growth, and people just wanted some advice, they would come to you. And it sounded like you could give them some expertise around certain segments in their business, but you just never knew what kind of happened with it. And so I'm imagining what was still sitting on your shoulder, this angel that was kind of talking into your ear, is how do you become organically all-encompassing, wrap around some services in order to help this still outstanding problem of financial management for businesses. Is that a good assessment?
Yes, definitely.
So let me then back up. So that is where you came to be. And so how did you get in? And sometimes over the years, I should say, financial services has been traditionally a male-dominated field. So tell me what was in you. And by the way, I think what you do, what we all do in terms of advocacy, we say it's our ministry. I don't know if you got that yet, but but tell me, what was it about you that decided to go, that this was your field of choice? This is where you wanted to serve. How did that start for you?
So I will tell you, I know we're going to go way back. So I was in college and I was looking for a part-time job. And I wanted to do something that was like in the evenings because I would like taking day classes. And so someone told me about a position at a bank that you could work at night and file checks. And then everybody's like, file checks, what is that? I literally had these big cranks that I cranked and your signature card was there. And I would get your checks that had gone through the system, through the clearinghouse, and I would match your signature with that signature card and file it in. And at the end of the month, I would have to do your statement. So I'd have to count those items, and hopefully all those items were there, put them in the statement and send them out.
This was a manual operation.
This was a manual operation.
Tell me,
there were 2 of us.
Was it the 80s?
It was before the 80s. It was before the 80s.
Okay.
It was in the 70s.
Okay.
But I was going to college for radio, television, and film.
Wow.
So I love that whole communication piece. I wanted to actually do the news, do weather on television. So I just, with the banking, got out, finished. And then I had 2 jobs. I worked at a radio station for a very short time, and I worked at a bank. And the bank
which one paid you more?
Actually, that's funny you should say that. The radio was part-time. Okay. And the bank job was full-time. And I worked like a night, early morning, so the times overlapped. So a manager in the bank said, you're late most mornings, because I was coming from my other job. And they were like, make up your mind. Do you want to be in banking or do you want to work at the radio? And to your point, I said, I'm moving out an apartment. All your friends are out of college. They're getting an apartment. I'm like, which one is going to pay the bills? And so I went with banking, and I've been in banking ever since. And I absolutely love it. And so I didn't get that piece of the radio, television, and film, but you're always communicating and talking
And
with
you know
them.
what? You don't know. You're still a young woman. You don't know what your second career is going to be.
That's right.
You just
That's
don't
right.
know. So let me ask you a question. Where did you grow up? Where did you go to undergrad?
So my father did 20 years in the military, so we traveled a lot. He was in the Navy, but I did my high school years in Houston, Texas. And I
Okay.
went to college in Huntsville, Texas, Sam Houston State. So, but
Okay.
we lived in Kittery, Maine, California, Norfolk. So we did quite a bit of traveling. I think I'm like a chameleon now. Sometimes I start to get antsy and I'm like, okay, what's next? Where are we
Right.
moving next? But I've been here in this area for 26 years.
Okay. Okay. Very, very good. It's always
Yeah.
interesting to see how people, and so you had to have some, um, um, acumen around numbers, I would imagine, or finance.
I love crunching numbers. And in fact, I was doing
Ah,
tax
okay.
returns way before I would do tax returns where I'd have everything spread out on the floor, pencil in my ear, the old 10-key calculator. And I just love that piece of it and just kind of helping. So even my dad at a younger age, I was doing his tax returns and, he was like, you have a gift. But that piece of it and then just helping and
Hmm.
seeing people move from point A to point B. And this is a little bit different from what I'm doing now, but I can remember, the good old insufficient funds fee. And so I
Mm.
got promoted from bookkeeping to customer service, and I'd have people come in. And we had a lot of senior citizens. We had, African American, Latino, and they would, and the NSF fee, I want to say was either $4 then or $5, but it was huge. And at the end of the month, they'd have all these fees and their accounts would be overdrawn. They were trying to either pay by get medication or get
Mm.
gas. And
Mm.
that just kind of stuck to me, like, how can I help you? So I would literally sit down and make appointments and balance checkbooks. Like, here's where you made the mistake, or you double counted this, or you transposed the
Really?
figure. And so, oh yes, I was balancing checkbooks. Bring your statements in, bring your check
So,
register.
so is
And
that something that you did, or that was your job?
that was something I did a little bit above and beyond. You could meet with
Okay.
customers, but it was customer service. So see what the issue is, fix that issue, and then help the next customer behind them. So we could do some appointments. So I would do appointments and then come in and help them balance their checkbook.
Well, you
Yeah,
bless you. I mean, you just,
yeah.
you never hear about these stories. You hear about the
Hmm.
frightening piece of people's, the insufficient funds and the things that
Hmm.
occurred. I'm sure that you saw firsthand the lack of ability to save, and whether that
Yes.
was from an inability, because
Hmm.
paycheck to paycheck, to
Yeah.
having that capability, and then just seeing some inequities there. And so there you have been an angel for over 40 years. And so
Hmm.
coming full circle now, where you carved out within the framework and the ability to help, you now have this carte blanche ability to kind of help.
Yes.
And so you help, I would imagine, you help shape this program as well, the
So
entrepreneurship.
the program started at the end of 2019,
Okay.
and I joined last year in
Okay.
June of 2021. So we were in three cities, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Detroit, and that's where it started. And doing that
Mhm.
one-on-one coaching, we did the $30 billion commitment, 5-year commitment, and out of the 30 billion, 2 billion of that went toward business owners to help them navigate through that cash flow, access to capital. And go ahead, you have a
Darla,
question?
can you talk a little bit when you say that? Because in our audience, sometimes when folks talk about something's earmarked for something, how does that really translate to? I'm not getting any money, so how does that translate
Mhm.
to what you're providing? Can you explain that a little bit more for our viewers?
Yeah, and so part of that commitment is the coaching and the teaching of, how to do your finances. So we looked at doing 15,000 loans and up to that 2
Got you.
billion. But it's still traditional financing in the institutions. So you're cash flowing, you're getting approved by an underwriter, but there's
Hmm.
also community development centers. So we can help you find capital that maybe not be in your traditional banking, what they call as CDFIs,
Right.
and we can help you look at different grants. So I am that human capital piece where I can really sit back and understand what your financial picture looks like. and then help you navigate through access to capital.
Outstanding. Darla, I've always told folks that there's an requirement for your management team. That's your CPA, your attorney, and your banker. Can you support that and tell our audience why?
Oh my gosh, I love that. And 100% you are absolutely correct. Because we work on 5 pillars in the senior consultant minority entrepreneur. And one is very important, is access to capital. But the other one that I find is your team of advisors. And your team of advisors are just what you said, your CPA, accountant, your financial advisor, your banker. And so I say to all of my business owners, even before this program, your CPA needs to be your best friend. They need to be in your back pocket. Your business banker also needs to be your best friend. I say keep them in your back pocket as well. When you're working with your CPA, your certified accountant, they really need to understand your business. You need to sit down and have conversations with them and your banker to be, this is where I am in my business, but I want my business to grow, or I'm sustaining my business. And they really need to understand that. So when they are doing your financial documents, they understand where you want to take your business. So they are very important for you to have a team of advisors around you. I can kind of give you one example that I was working with a mentor, and she was leasing her property, and she had been leasing the 2 condos for 15 years. And we were saying to her that, have that conversation with your advisor, because she really missed the boat. She could have probably bought 3.5 condos that she missed out on because she had not had that conversation with her advisor to be able to sit back and say, sit down and let's look at what leasing looks like versus what looks like buying, and how that would help your bottom line.
The other person I pull into that mix is the attorney as well. I think I always said the ABCs, and so I think the attorney is an important role in that conversation. EIDL, PPP, over the last couple of years, that was something, our organization helped a lot with that, even though it was, particularly the first round, was targeted. Well, we know what happened with the first round. But there were still minority businesses that were kind of left out in the cold with that because they did not have that existing relationship. And if they had, and some of the ones that had relationships, they were on the bottom on the totem pole, on the bottom of the totem pole. And so others that had more capital and that kind of stuff got better service. And so sometimes we had to step in on that. What have been, it sounds like you have your pulse on the minority business community as it relates to that. What types of challenges did you hear about over the last few years?
Yeah, that whole PPP process was definitely a challenge. And being a part in the new expansion market, I didn't have a very big book of clients. So I was put on several different projects to work with PPP clients. So I talked to business owners all over the 50 states that had businesses. And what I found that one of the biggest challenges that, and I'm not sure if it was based on your, capital that you had, but it was definitely that they didn't have the financial package ready. They didn't have their tax returns. They didn't have their payroll statements. So it was almost like, to be able to help them, we had to go back and help them create these documents so that they could get funding. And then some of them weren't, banking with banks. So there was other institutions like yourself, a couple of other ones that were also doing PPP loans. So it was that business, that relationship, like, don't be afraid of banks, to walk into a bank and start a relationship with the bank. And therefore you can get that help. But I think, again, that biggest challenge is just not having the financial package that they needed to apply for that. So when we got to those second round, it looked a little bit different for them, and we were able to help more businesses.
Okay. Tell us a little bit more about JP Morgan and why people shouldn't be afraid of a JP Morgan versus regional banks over the last few years have really stepped up their game in terms of small business, et cetera. Tell us why you shouldn't be. I mean, when you hear JP Morgan Chase, it just sounds um, like a giant. And so
Mhm.
tell us why, if I'm a small minority business owner, why I shouldn't be afraid of it.
Yeah, as I've been mentoring business owners, I was really so surprised at them saying like I was afraid to walk into JP Morgan Chase. I felt like I had to get my documents and my financial picture ready first before I was able to go and talk to someone about opening up accounts, which then kind of struck a chord because, I'll say like when you go to the gym, you say, I'm going to join a gym. And some people are like, oh no, I got to lose weight or I got to get myself ready to go to the gym, which that's
Mm,
what the gym is there for, to go in
right.
and get yourself, start exercising and, just that whole mental and physical health. And so I feel like when there's coming to banks, come in, Chase has so many resources. They have the branch. We have business relationship managers. We've got a really good resource that you can go in and it'll help you through startups. It'll help you with the business plan. It tells you what a profit and loss statement is. It'll say, I want to grow my business. There's just so much information to grow your business. And so I think that just the community banks are great, but do not be afraid to come and Chase. We're here to help you and we're available and we have senior consultants like myself. I have a partner, Christina, who's also in Washington, D.C. We've added 2 senior consultants in Baltimore, and we're just an extension of those business bankers that are in the branch or that are also working in the office space. So I say come in, we'll be able to help you. Don't be afraid.
Hmm. And it's very, very good to know. And I think part of the fear has been the stigma associated with how banks had treated people of color over the years. And sometimes some things are, sometimes it's just residue on the
Mhm.
table. And I think that that's part of the fear factor. But it sounds like there is an acknowledgement that that may be some of the issues, and that's why you've created some of the programs that you have. Is that a true statement?
That is true. And we have in Ward 7, Ward 8, we have branches now. Some of those areas in DC never had branches in their area, right in Ward 7, Ward 8. We've got a community center that we put there that's open and it's great. There's a community manager. So they're really getting out and they're understanding the community. They're doing financial literacy classes. There's classes for home ownership. And then there's a piece that I do, senior business. So I think just the whole narrative has changed. And so we are there and available and ready to help as much as we can.
So tell us, Darla, how can our businesses that are listening, how can they um, get in touch, and how can they make the connection with JP Morgan
So if
resources?
you're interested in that senior business consultant, there is a website and it is www.chase/business consultant. And that, I will repeat that again. Thank you. It's up on the screen. Therefore, you go into there and that's where you'll find a lot of the information about our program. But it allows you to fill out just a quick, name, your business. And one of our senior consultants will get back to you. We'll email you and then we'll set up an appointment to talk to you.
Okay.
If you're
We're an
going
advocate.
into one of the branches and you want to visit one of the branches, they are very aware of us as well. And they will also send a referral over if you're visiting one of the branches in the DMV.
Hmm. And what we said in the beginning of our conversation is that JP Morgan Chase is one of our corporate members. And so, Darla, we would be interested to find out how, as an advocacy organization, um, we can kind of support that as well, kind of getting the word out relative to what JP Morgan Chase is doing. I remember just a couple of years ago, we were contacted in this area because you guys were opening up branches and
Mhm.
they were looking for even, construction, some of our minority construction companies, all different kinds of minority businesses because of the spread, because you all had made that decision to come into this area. How's that going?
That is going great. We are ahead of schedule, and I believe there are 60-something branches that we've opened. And
Just in the
to
last
your
couple of
point,
years, just in the last couple of
yes,
years, correct? Yeah.
yes, because that
Mhm.
started in 2018. I believe the first branch was opened December of 2018. So that has been a couple of years. And thank you for that too, because we do, when we're doing part of the business development, when we're sitting down with the business owners, we do talk to them about the diversity supply certificate, MBE, so we can help them. If that's where they are, we make sure that they're ready to be qualified for that, and we'll help them, send in an email so they can get MBE certified and then get on the supply and diversity list as well. So it's very good to hear that we reached out to you and was able to look and get those jobs out there.
Yeah. And so, audience, just to clarify what Darla is saying is that if you're NMSD, if you're certified by us, you're NMSDC certified. And by the way, if you are NMSDC certified, you have already had to get together your financials, and all that information has to be in order. And so being certified by us helps you put your package together before you go see a Darla Harris at a JPMorgan Chase. Because of the requirements we have to be certified. And so, membership has its, as they say, it has its strong suit. And so I think there's definitely a connection there. You guys being one of our corporate members, and having the ability to reach to us to get those qualified minority businesses. Anything else you'd like to share with us, Darla?
No, I just really want to just go back and say how exciting it is to be able to have the one-on-one mentorship and support the minority-owned businesses in our Black and Brown communities. And please go onto our website and, put in your information so that we can really help you. The program, we have now helped mentored over 1,000 businesses. And we had our first graduation in January, and about 117 mentees graduated from the program. So some of them were able to get access to capital, business operations, really hone in around that team of advisors, along with some marketing strategies. So we're looking forward to doing that. The program is for Chase and non-Chase customers. We do want you to be in business for 2 years and have $100,000 of revenue when we'll be able to work with you in the future. So I'm looking forward to doing more work and talking to more business owners.
Okay, well, let us chat, because our focus is to be more programmatic in approach. And so part of what we do for our corporate members is kind of assist in that matter. And so we're certainly open, as you provide resources, that we're able to provide resources to our well-deserving and competitively viable minority businesses. We certainly will. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for your continued commitment. So what's Darla A. Harris 2.0?
Darla Harris is to just get out there and continue to communicate with the business owners. And like I said, when I meet with them, I want to make sure I'm leaving them in a better place once the 6 months is over. So, and then maybe we will look at some radio, television, and film.
Absolutely. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Darla Harris, thank you for your time. Thank you for this bountiful abundance of information that is certainly valuable. We certainly value you and JPMorgan Chase.
Thank you, Dr. Pinder. Thank you so much for having me. I truly enjoyed the conversation. I look for more to come.
Absolutely. Let's stay connected for sure. Thank you,
Thank
thank you,
you.
thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's another great session of information. Shame on you if you didn't get any of it down, but you can always go to our website to get information. It's CRMSDCcares.com, or go to our website of CRMSDC.org. But we hope you have been enjoying our Hotchat Podcast discussions. Again, if you've missed any of them, please listen for replays. We have grown. We are on Google, Apple, and Spotify, or visit our media center as we just shared. You may also learn of some upcoming conversations, but let me share this with you. We're about to walk across the threshold for Women's History Month, and we have some exciting women that we're going to be talking to over the next month, starting with March the 8th. Jermaine Bowles Lethbridge, who is Chief Creative Officer, CEO of GBL Sales. But more importantly, just recently, Forbes magazine has basically indicated that she was the face behind the multi-billion-dollar Black beauty business. And so listen to that conversation. You'll learn a lot about the business of beauty. And a special thanks. Oh, and then we have some other women that we will be looking at that month. And so stay tuned for that advertisement. A special thanks to our Coronavirus Response and Relief Center team. Thank you, team, and Grable Media for helping us execute and deliver this great content. And lastly, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube our handle, is at CRMSDC. But before we do that, I'd like for us to look again at some of our sponsors, because sponsorship is important. And for those who are just audio only, you can't see this. So I'm just going to go quickly through our sponsors: AARP, Allianz, AT&T, BAE Systems, BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport, Dominion Energy, the Ellison Group, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FRS, the Hilton, Horseshoe, Leidos, Lockheed Martin, M&T Bank, Mass Mutual, McCormick, Northrop Grumman, Peapod, SAIC, Sodexo, Truest, United States Postal Service, Washington Gas, the Metro, Zillion Technologies, and Zones. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And see you next time.